Hi, VencoreWeather.com. Meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Friday, January 22nd. The blizzard of 2016 is about to begin in the Mid-Atlantic region. It looks like it should become one of the all-time great snowstorms in much of the Mid-Atlantic region over the next 48 to 72 hours or so. We've been talking about a widespread accumulation area of 1 to 2 feet, and that continues to looks like that will be the case, closer to 2 feet in and around the D.C. metro region, closer to 1 foot in and around New York City, and somewhere in the middle in Philadelphia. That could certainly change somewhat today, but we'll continue to monitor the situation closely. Snow has pushed into the southwestern part of Virginia. Here's the latest radar loop from Intellicast.com. The blues here represent areas of snow, and again has moved into southwestern Virginia. A couple things I want to point out. First of all, a very nice squall line or line of thunderstorms cutting across the deep south here into Georgia and all the way into the Panhandle region of Florida. All indicative of very strong upper level dynamics. Some severe weather down in the southeastern U.S. Kind of can see a little spin in the atmosphere here by looking at the radar echoes, and indeed low pressure at the surface is trying to develop right now in the Tennessee Valley. That will eventually transfer its energy to a coastal low, and that coastal low will then ride up the coast for a while before it cuts to the east. And again, the blizzard of 2016 is about to begin in the Mid-Atlantic region. Well, here's the latest water vapor loop from the Penn State EWAL site, and it's a very valuable tool when you're this close to the event to see exactly where air masses are moving, and there's a tremendous influx of Gulf of Mexico air. You can see here moist air all the way from down in the southern part of the Gulf of Mexico riding up into this system. It has a tremendous amount of moisture, of course, headed towards a very cold air mass here. Temperatures in the low 20s this morning in much of the I-95 corridor, and this spells significant snowfall with that kind of moisture riding in from the south, running into very cold air mass up in the northeast that's anchored by strong high pressure. Well, here's the very latest surface weather map with the isobars plotted on here, represented here by the black lines. A couple things I want to point out. First of all, notice the drop in isobars here. This is a classic signal of cold air damming, where high pressure is up to the north, sending cold air down along the eastern edge, the eastern areas of the Appalachian Mountains. Cold air is in place. Moist air is riding up and over that cold air at the surface here, and that's why snow is breaking out now across Virginia. And of course, it will advance northward around D.C. area in the 2 to 6 p.m. time frame for the arrival. Philadelphia, anywhere from 6 to 10 p.m. tonight, and probably shortly after midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning in the New York City metro region. A couple things I want to point out also. Here is a low pressure down at the surface right now in the Tennessee Valley. Again, that will be the case for the next several hours, but eventually it'll shift its energy to the coast, and a coastal low will form off of the outer banks here. Also, in this radar area right now in Kentucky, there's some thunder snow being reported. That is certainly a possibility anywhere in the region during this storm. Thunder, snow, lightning, anytime, especially during the day on Saturday. Well, let's take a look at a few forecast maps from last night's Zero-Z GF model run. Again, the GFS has handled this storm pretty well. It's kind of in the middle of the extremes of all the other models. Models, again, are new, so many different models that all say something different, and they tend to flip-flop. It's best to look at some analog-type years where we had snow situations similar to this to get an idea of what to expect. I think this is a very analogous situation to February 1983. Models here, of course, is useful as a tool, but it's not the only tool available here for coming up with snow accumulations. This is a forecast map for this evening, Friday evening. Again, we've emphasized high pressure, a necessary ingredient to be anchored in to the north here, banana-shaped high to the north and northwest. That keeps the cold air in place, which is not easy to do here in the Mid-Atlantic region. All it takes is a several-hour period, winds blowing off the ocean to bring in warmer air from the east, but with cold high pressure, certainly enhances the chance of snow accumulation in the Mid-Atlantic region. By this evening, that low pressure that is setting up now in the Tennessee Valley will transfer its energy to the coastal region right here, and by this evening the snow will have begun in D.C., just about on the doorstep of southeastern Pennsylvania. And here's the forecast map for tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, and it's just going to be a wild day in the Mid-Atlantic region. A major snowstorm, blizzard conditions at times along the I-95 corridor from D.C. to Philadelphia into New York City, and we have intensifying low pressure right over the coastal region of North Carolina, Virginia border region. A long fetch of air coming in off the ocean into the Mid-Atlantic region. That just pumps in a tremendous amount of Atlantic Ocean moisture. We know there's already Gulf of Mexico moisture feeding into this system. Quite a combination of all that moisture along with a cold air mass that's held in place by high pressure to the north and northwest. Blowing and drifting will become a serious issue here. We have the potential for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts at coastal locations, even gusts as high as 50 miles per hour inland along the I-95 corridor. That raises the possibility of some power outages, especially in areas where there's some rain and sleet mixing in. That should be the case across interior South Jersey, for example, across the Delmarva Peninsula. In the immediate I-95 corridor and points to the north and west, this looks like primarily a snow event. Certainly sleet, perhaps even some raindrops can mix in at times, but again, primarily a snow event from the I-95 corridor, points north and west. Coastal flooding, beach erosion, certainly a major concern here with the long time period of strong winds out of the east to northeast, plus a full moon exists later tomorrow night. All that will exacerbate the situation along coastal regions. Let's now jump ahead another 12 hours. And here's the forecast map from last night's GFS model run for Saturday evening, tomorrow night. And by this time, we'll have conveyor belt type snowfall on the west and northwest side of the surface low pressure area. This will be all snow. Any areas that have rain or sleet during the morning hours, midday hours tomorrow will change back to significant accumulating snow. Cold air will collapse back from the west to the east later tomorrow as that low pressure shifts a little bit to the east off the Mid-Atlantic coastline. So this will be a conveyor belt type snowfall late tomorrow night. Certainly can be a thunder snow and with lightning during this event anywhere up and down the I-95 corridor. Snow will fall at varying rates on Saturday as mesoscale or small scale banding should set up. Some areas may be getting dumped on up to a couple inches per hour, and if indeed a dry slot develops, it can even slacken off to very little or perhaps even nothing falling for a brief time. But again, a significant snow accumulation up and down the I-95 corridor between D.C. and New York City. Boston, by the way, gets in on much less in the way of snow as this pulls more to the east than to the north along the New England coastline. That does not look like that'll happen. Again, much less in the way of snowfall in Boston, but a significant accumulation, perhaps one of the biggest storm ever in the D.C. metro region. 28 inches fell in the Knickerbocker blizzard of 1922, January 1922 in D.C. That all-time record in recorded history in D.C. is certainly in jeopardy. And again, anywhere from 20 to 30 inches of snow in the D.C. metro region. 14 to 20 is a rough estimate in the Philly metro region, the lower amounts to the northern suburbs, the higher amounts in the south and southwestern part of the southeastern part of Pennsylvania. Anywhere from 8 to 14 inches in and around New York City region. To the south, it will be more than that. And all the way down to the coast, it'll be a significant snowfall, even if they mix in with rain or sleet at times. It certainly can be a foot to a foot and a half or so in interior sections of southern New Jersey, and up to a foot is possible along the coast, along with those tremendous winds, perhaps gusting to near 70 miles per hour during the day on Saturday. So get prepared and stay tuned to VencoreWeather.com. I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.